Hey, it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life, and you are host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 106, Why Your Business Plan is More Important Than Ever. So today's episode is really important to me, and yet it's always a surprise when I record an episode talking about planning. Because although I love planning things like trips and experiences, for me, so many years in my business, I was just winging it. And I was hoping that the thing I was putting in place would work. And I wasn't tracking metrics. And although I've always set financial goals, I didn't really know how to goal set and how to build that trust with myself and within my business. And I believe more than ever before, we need a business plan. We need to move forward and get some clarity on what we're doing next. This year, 2020, at the time that I'm recording this, has thrown a lot of us for a loop. It has derailed a lot of plans. And of course, we've all had to pivot. So now is the perfect time for you to regroup and take a look at what the remaining months of this year actually holds for you and your company. And you can even venture into 2021. Why not? Take a look at what you want to create in the years to come. And then dial it back and get clear what is happening in the next quarter for you and your company. I'm sharing the process that I use at I Heart My Life to get clear on what's working, what's not working, get clear on what I actually want to do, what we want to sell, how to figure out our revenue goals, how to figure out if our team is capable of hitting those goals. So I want you to listen not only for inspiration, but also for implementation, because it's crucial that you take action immediately after this episode. Let's dive in. This episode is sponsored by our I Heart Growth virtual workshop happening June 11th and 12th. If you want support in your business planning, if you want to understand what numbers to measure in your business to get the most bang for your buck, if you want to learn why goal setting is required for success, if you want to understand and put in place the influence model, which, by the way, helped one of our clients sell a $50,000 package, if you want to receive our 90-day content planner and calendar, this workshop is for you. We're going to be breaking down the planning process so you will leave with a strategic plan that works in your business. You're going to have clarity on your next steps in your business. You're going to know what you're selling. You're going to get clear on your revenue goals. You're going to understand what works in your company and do a business audit from the past few quarters. All of this is happening in just the span of 2 days. So if you are ready for massive growth and impact, get yourself on this workshop. And because you are an incredible I Heart My Life show listener, you're going to get 75% off. So go to iheartmylife.com. Under events, you'll see that there's our incredible game-changing I Heart Growth workshop. You're going to be able to sign up for 75% off by using the promo code INSIDER. We'll also put this link in the show notes to make it easier for you. But I want you to join this workshop. It's only $23 for our listeners. All of that information I just shared in that span of 2 days. Also networking and learning directly from my top coaches. Okay, all of that will happen in the span of 2 days, and it's only $23 for our listeners. Okay, this is a no-brainer. Get yourself on this workshop, and I can't wait to see you there. All right, so let's do it. Your business plan is more important than ever before, and here is why. First and foremost, I want you to take a look at what is actually working for you right now. And this means you might look at the previous 2 quarters or even last year, but we all know that a lot of things are very different at this point in 2020 when I'm recording this compared to what they were even a few months ago. So I want you to take a look at what you know to be working right now. So if you even had clients sign up with you in the past few weeks, take a look. Where did they come from? Why did they buy from you? What did they buy? How long did it take them to buy from you? This is all data that I want you to be tracking on a weekly basis. So for example, we have a spreadsheet where we take a look at every single sale that comes in. Basically, this is automatically added to a spreadsheet. So we use Samcart, and then we use Zapier to zap all of our sale information into a spreadsheet where we capture the data. And then manually, one of my team members will go through and look at whoever has purchased and write down the information about where they came from. So was it through a masterclass? Was it through a workshop? Was it through an opt-in? Was it through a personal connection? And then we also look at how long that person has been in our community. community. So we start to get information about what is actually working. Because here's the thing, with everything going on in the world, we are all, what's the word I'm looking for? We are all feeling nervous. We're feeling fear. We're feeling concerned about our future. And so that ends up being very draining in terms of our energy. So we want to make sure that we are so specific with this plan and that we only give time to those things and energy to those things that are actually working. So what I find with most of my clients is they don't actually know what's working. So this is truly the first step. I want you to evaluate what has been working in your company. And then you can also take a look at what you anticipate will work. So maybe you work with a mentor or coach, or maybe you listen to a certain podcast, or you follow a certain influencer or a strategist, and they're teaching something new. So maybe you take a look at that strategy and you think to yourself, you know what? I really resonate with this. This excites me. I think this is going to work in my business. And then you decide that you're going to implement it. You're going to test it. So my recommendation is that you always have something that you know has worked in the past running, and then you can always add in something additional that you're testing. But you never want to be in a completely testing phase unless you're, say, a complete newbie in business, right? So you want to figure out what is actually working, and then listen for your intuition, listen for your instincts, listen to your mentors, listen to those guides out there who have what it is that you desire or the results you desire, and then you can test certain new strategies. So once you have that data, then you plan out what it is that you're going to sell. So from my perspective, business plans are about revenue. They're about you bringing in the money to continue to grow or build the business. If we aren't bringing in revenue, then we don't actually have a business. And so I'd ask myself, what are my expenses right now? How much does it cost for me to run my team, to pay my team? How much does it cost for me to run Facebook ads or paid traffic ads? How much does it cost for us to do our marketing? What about do we have coaches on our team? Really think about what those expenses actually are. So not only the business expenses, but your personal expenses. And what is the amount of money that has to come in every single month? Okay, so then you craft your plan around that. So maybe if you're running a bigger business, there's a minimum of $50,000 a month that needs to come in. Maybe for you, it's $5,000. Whatever it is, you know your amount, or at least you should, and then you can create your plan around that. And then it's simply just a numbers game. So you ask yourself, how many clients would I have to sign up to reach this goal? How many packages would I have to sell? And then from there, you build out your content and your marketing. It's so interesting to me, and I'm sure that I was totally guilty of this at one point. It's so interesting to me that people say that they don't know what to post, and they don't know what to share, and they don't know how to create their content. When really, the reality is, you create your content based on what it is that you're selling. So let me break this down even further for you. So when we think about our Q3 goals, that's, coming up right around the corner, we think about the different launches that we have. We know what we're doing in July. We know what we're doing in August. We know what we're doing in September. And everything that we share, from social media to email to the I Heart My Life show, everything will revolve around selling whatever it is that we're selling that month. And so it all builds to the sale. So think about the post that you're putting out. Is that actually in service to you selling the thing that you're saying you want to sell? Is it in service to your revenue goals? Is it going to lead to someone signing up with you? Now, I want you to understand that there are some methods and strategies that pay off much quicker. For example, if you host a workshop or a masterclass, someone may book a call right away and sign up with you. Then there are other more long-term strategies like Pinterest. And so we always try to have multiple strategies in place at one time. Once again, we're applying the method that we know works, and we're also applying the method that may be a bit more of a test method, or maybe it's a long-term strategy. But we're doing both simultaneously. We're never just in testing mode. And in my opinion, we always want to be ahead of the game. We always want to be making sure we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket, which is why it's important to diversify in terms of your strategies. Now, it doesn't mean you do 10 different strategies. It doesn't mean that you have to post on LinkedIn, Pinterest, on Instagram, on Facebook, do the podcast, send the emails, unless you have a big team. But I want you to think, again, that's where it comes back to what actually is working in your company. Let's focus on at least one thing there, and then we can add in an additional strategy that we might want to test going forward. So really think about your content as it pertains to what it is that you want to sell. And it's really easy if you get in the habit, it's really easy for you to map things out over a longer period. So you could take a few days and just decide, you know what, today I'm going to map out all the subject lines for my emails, or I'm going to at least do a brain dump so that I know what I'm going to be emailing about throughout the month. Maybe you do the same thing with your social media posts. Maybe you take your emails and you turn those into social media posts. So we're not saying reinventing the wheel here. We're saying cross-pollinate, so to speak, your content in a variety of different places. So you could craft one email and turn that into a podcast episode, a social media post, content for a Facebook group, content on LinkedIn, Pinterest, a blog, whatever you want to do, an opt-in. So it could be similar content across the board that you then just repurpose. So really think about your next few weeks and ask yourself, how am I going to set myself up for business planning? And again, that means figuring out what works first and foremost, figuring out what you're going to sell and what your revenue goals actually are, and then planning your content. And then my opinion, it's taking a look at if your team is capable of executing that plan. So maybe right now, like I said, the goal for you is the $5,000. So maybe that's just you and your company, or maybe it's you and a VA. So ask yourself, is this plan a sign or a symbol of me setting myself up for success? Is this something that we can actually execute? Do we actually have the ability to do so? Do we have the resources? Do we have the programs? Do we have the content created? What needs to happen for me to actually execute on this plan? And this is where I want you to get really granular, because what I'm hearing from a lot of people is, oh my gosh, everything keeps changing. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to post. I'm feeling so frantic. I'm feeling so anxious. And so you want to have as much planned out as possible. And you also want to be setting yourself up for success. And that means being in reality around what you're capable of and what your company is capable of from the get-go. So when things like COVID-19 happen, or when anything happens that we don't expect in business, we're able to pivot. We're able to take the content that we originally planned and tweak it so that it fits the matter at hand, or it fits the conversation that's happening, or it fits the time frame. And if worst comes to worst and you can't use that content, which is fine, you can use it later on. So it's never a waste. But I want you to really put your mind at ease and recognize that when you have a plan, that actually creates more freedom, because it frees up your energy and you can have more time to be creative, more time to get inventive when you know that the business is taken care of and you know there's an actual plan in place. And it's not like you're throwing that spaghetti against the wall, hoping something sticks, because we all know that is not a good place to be in. It's not an exciting place to be in. In fact, it's a pretty nervous place to be in. So really think about your capacity to execute on the plan from the team perspective, from the time perspective, and also from your mindset perspective. So right now, when you think about the revenue goals that you want to hit, when you think about what it is that you're going to sell, what comes up for you? Are you feeling drained at the thought of it? Is it too much? Is it, too much on your plate where it's not even humanly possible? I remember even just a few days ago, I was looking at everything on my to-do list and I was like, this is actually not humanly possible. And if I do this, I'm not going to be a happy camper. I'm going to run myself into the ground. And so I quickly figured out, all right, who do I need to delegate this to? And asked my director of operations, do we even have the person on our team to delegate to? If not, how do we get that person? Because it wasn't humanly possible. I had not set myself up for success. And that happens from time to time. I'm a very creative person. There's a lot of things that are coming up right now in the current climate that have been inspiring me to create even more impact and to be a light and to do things differently. And naturally, I like to take fast action. I'm a quick start. So I want to have everything in place this second. I want to do the rebrand. I want to build the course. I want to hire the team all at the same time. But that's not exactly a recipe for success. So you need to have awareness around your own schedule, around your own mindset. How are you showing up? What support do you need? And then ultimately make a decision. So once you have that revenue plan, once you have that business plan, ask yourself, does this feel good to me? Does this feel doable? Is there anywhere where we are vulnerable here? And if the answer, if everything checks off, right, when you're going through the list and it's a go, then make a decision that you're going to do this and you're going to make it happen. And of course, like I said, there are going to be moments where we pivot. But all in all, you will have something planned out. And you will feel so excited about that. You will know what's coming up down the line. So maybe if there's a pivot required, you will have more insight. For example, I know we have a launch in September for iHeart Coaching. So right now we can be planting seeds about that program. So even if something changes in the current climate, we know that our content that we desire to put out in the world will help us fill that program in some way or another. And so we have that clarity. I hope this is making sense for everyone today. And the thing I want to say is that it took me a while to get to this place. So if you are brand new and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't have a plan in place, I don't even know what's possible for me in terms of revenue goals and what I can sell, just take it month by month. Maybe even week by week. So take a look at what worked last week. What can you continue to build on? Even if it's just one thing, even if it's just, oh, you know what, my friend happened to send me a recommendation. Great. Talk to your friend. Say, do you know any more people? Talk to more friends. Make that your methodology. Make that your strategy. And then ask yourself, what is that one program that I'm selling this month? And how many of it do I want to sell? How much money do I want to make? What content can I put out in the world on Facebook Live or social media? And take it week by week. Maybe you take Mondays and you map out all your content for the week. Maybe you take Fridays and you map out all your content for the next week. Regardless of what you decide to do, just create a plan and a process and be willing to tweak it. Be willing to show up and fail. Be willing to show up and feel challenged because you've never actually worked in this way. I know for a lot of visionaries, it's very difficult to think of a plan as creating more freedom. Those two things aren't actually normally associated with one another. And so you have to change the way that you're thinking about your business plan. And if you're further along, get your team involved in this conversation. This is not meant to be a one-woman show or one-woman process. It's important that you not only have somebody tracking those metrics, but you have somebody who is there to support you in the revenue plan, to understand what your company is capable of, to point out any vulnerabilities that might exist, any holes that might be in that plan, to take a look at your schedule, where you can get things off of your plate, how your team is managing operations and all of their tasks. And then ultimately to have a coach who supports you with your mindset and is able to point out, okay, well, there might be those blocks might come up for you right there, or that might be your growth edge. So maybe if you're looking to go to the next financial level, there's some stuff coming up for you mindset wise or from a fear perspective. It's really important to have that outside perspective and let other people in when it comes to your plan. And then finally, don't be afraid to just do some brain dumping. If all of this sounds like a foreign language, just give yourself an hour, do some brain dumping. Ask yourself, okay, what is working? What do I want to sell? How much money do I want to make? And that's truly how all of our plans start. It's not just about the spreadsheet. It's not just about the financial revenue or the P&L or whatever it may be. It's about you getting clear on what excites you about your business and what's going to work for your clients. And so ultimately, I'll take a Google Doc and I'll just map out all of our programs. I'll map out the exact order that I want to sell them in terms of launches. I'll map out how I want to sell them. Are they open all the time or are they closed door, open door? I'll map out different ideas I have for podcast episodes and emails. And again, some of this stuff does ebb and flow and change. There are times where I get an additional idea for an email and it wasn't actually due to go out. There wasn't an opening in the schedule, but I switched things around and I send something out that I feel called to share. So again, create a plan, do your brain dump, really have fun with this. And remember that planning does truly equal freedom. I know that sounds totally crazy, but it's true. And we have an incredible session, another episode, I should say, with one of the coaches at iHeart My Life, Susan Brennan, and we talk all about goal setting. So listen for that. I believe it's coming up in a few weeks because if you loved this, you also love that. And I just want to point out, take action right now on something I said. So maybe you need to figure out what works in your company. Maybe you need to figure out how much money you need to make. Maybe you want to figure out what excites you. Maybe you want to look at your personal schedule or your team. Maybe you want to ask one of your mentors or team members where they see a vulnerability in your company. Regardless, take one action step today. That's the best way to start to get results. And if you're feeling uncomfortable about planning, it's the best way to get your feet wet and start to make planning the norm, because for most people, it's not. When people get into our mastermind, for example, we have them do a 2-week time study. And normally the amount of time that they spend planning every week is like 1%. Okay, that has to change. Planning is crucial for you to get results in your business. I hope you loved today's episode. It was short and sweet, but hopefully very informative. And now you feel inspired to actually take action towards your business plan. Remember, you do not have to do this alone. We are hosting our iHeart Growth Workshop. If you are listening to this live, definitely go ahead, go to iHeartMyLife.com, look for our workshop under events. Make sure you sign up and join us on this 2-day experience where we're actually going to help you create your plan and get clear on a strategy that will work for you and your business. So go to iHeartMyLife.com, and remember, you can use the promo code INSIDER to save 75%. See you there. Thank you for listening to the I Heart My Life show. For more inspiration, success tips, and ways to achieve your life and business goals, definitely follow me on Facebook and Instagram on I Heart My Life Now. See you next time.